And plus, I'm wearing a wrestling T-shirt, so I'm good.
Nice, because you thought people were gonna freak out.
Ooh yeah, Metal Lab is live tonight. I am joined this week by the absolute crippler, the man of the hour, Mr. Mike White.
Woo!
And you know him. You don't love him. He's dastardly little toolbox of a terrible man. It's Jay.
I'm more of a referee than a player. Okay.
Jay is the referee you don't want, ladies and gentlemen. Little bit to talk about for later on. There's a lot to talk about today, though, because all of a sudden last week, everything happened as far as HeroClix is concerned. So let's try to do our weekend review very quickly, guys. Mike, how was your week in HeroClix?
It was pretty good. We did practice yesterday, and I played the team that I practiced the week before, and I won a game against Emily. Emily and I are like 50-50 against each other, and I won another game, and I lost a game against Devin because I really went for a big Hail Mary thing and almost, so super close, but didn't work out. Anyway, 2-1, still kind of like my team. Don't think it's the best thing around, but it's probably going to play it.
All right, awesome. Jay?
I'm still playing the Don't Die tech, and I'm lucky I still have friends because it is, yeah.
As someone who's played against this team, we have all said how much we're grateful that Jay is judging at Canada Cup because this team it's really not nice. It really isn't. No, I mean, it's actually really frustrating. It's really annoying. And I think I came kind of close. I think we were close in points, but again, it doesn't give points. It's like it's this horrible, undying thing.
I think we had one game where the first practice game we played with it ended up being like very low points, but I still had last round. I could have killed more stuff if I wanted to, but we just stopped.
Totally.
Yeah. That's how a lot of my games end. It's like, could I take more points? Yes, but it's done. So,
yeah.
But yeah. Because I have 2 Mudmen and the Joker with a symbiote, so literally a third of my team.
Well, there's one game where one of the Mudmen had 5 life tokens on it.
Probably.
Yeah.
But basically, between the 2 Mudmen and the Joker with the symbiote, literally a third of my team has plasticity and super sensitive shape change. But yeah.
You do so much work to get no points. That's what's really frustrating. Like, I think I had one turn where I was like, oh my God, that was an awesome turn. My damage output was so huge. How many points did I get? No, you didn't score any points. Like, yeah, so it's not fun. It's not a fun team.
That's otherwise it, yeah.
I've been mulling around into the Mind of Madness recently and trying to come up with something that might not be my monster team. There's one team that's kind of lingering as a possibility, but there's a comfort level, and I might just end up playing the monster team again. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, there's a lot of previews to get through, so let's get this show on the road, shall we? Because all of a sudden we went from where are the previews, guys, to here's all the previews, guys. So brace yourselves. It's Battleworld preview season, and we're starting in prime time, ladies and gentlemen. The Prime She-Hulk. She's got the Avengers, Battleworld, Other, Politician, and Ruler. Keyword, Baroness of Battleworld, Leadership, Perplex. When She-Hulk uses Perplex to target another character, you may instead modify a combat value, accept damage by +2 if the target shares a Battleworld keyword, or -2 if it has a different Battleworld keyword. Hunting the traitor in A-Force is their second trait. Plasticity, adjacent opposing characters can't use Mastermind or Shape Change or Stealth. And then a special damage power, which she has on the first 4 clicks of her 130-point dial and the first 2 clicks of her 90-point dial, which is Welcome to Arcadia. It's pretty tight. Empower and Enhancement. And then everything else is what you see is what you get on dial with Indomitable. Mike, what do you think of the Prime She-Hulk?
She's okay. She's cool and all, and she's a She-Hulk figure. She looks like She-Hulk. Yeah, I mean, her trait is really cool. I love the whole getting rid of Mastermind and all that stuff, but you got to be adjacent. Let's say you're playing her at the lower points of 90 points. It's like 90 points for that. No, you're not paying me 90 points for that. And power enhancement is nice, but again, it's like a lot of points to put a figure in the mix that'll just get eaten up and you'll give 90 points to somebody is how it feels. So cool figure. I would build with her in some theme events if I pulled her in the sealed. Depending on what else I got, maybe I'd play her at either or points. Who knows? I might not have got anything else with any power, so maybe I got a TK her to go with her. But I can't, myself personally, I can't see her having any real effect on the meta.
All right. Jay?
Incredibly fun for sealed and just casual. 20 defense and sealed, and looking like decent theme potential. Constructed, definitely no. ROC Age call-in, if she had the shield keyword, it would be an automatic yes, but then you have to add her ID card otherwise, which is not ideal, but still pretty solid depending on what the meta looks like there. But outside of constructed, overall, probably for sealed.
I'd probably say definite yes for sealed, because it's not just all this stuff. It's also leadership and perplex. Like that, those are traded in addition to plasticity, also traded, and dropping mastermind, shape changing stealth on opponents. Those will depend on what the other figures have. But basically, if you're next to her, you get extra damage. And if you need the extra damage, why not get an extra attack from my perplex? And if you happen to share that Battleworld keyword, it's +2. So
I think it also comes down to how common the trait is, how much perplex there will be in sealed to hit her numbers, and how much psychic blast there is. Because there's a little bit of it so far already, and one figure with penetrating damage traded. So hard to say.
Speaking of, that's something we're going to be talking about later on. Another prime, I might add. But staying in primes, let's talk Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel, this is the Captain Marvel Prime. Avengers, Battleworld, Spider Island, Monster, and Soldier keyword. She gets the Vampire trait, which starts her on click 3, and she gets Seal Energy, which you can go past her starting click. First, special movement power on the first 2 clicks of her natural dial, which are charged and plasticity. And then her last 4 clicks all have combat reflexes and toughness as part of her feral cunning. Special defense power, 100 points, Avengers team ability, 6 range, indomitable flies. Jay, what do you think of Captain Marvel?
Definitely a vampire that's worth playing, at least as far as not constructed goes, because this figure doesn't really do anything worth playing at constructed. But definitely looking at playing this one in casual as well. ID card, probably also, that sort of thing. Sealed, maybe? Because, getting prob and hypersonic and all that stuff is good, but you have to hit first. But depends how it plays out, but probably for sealed.
All right. Mike?
Yeah, I like her. I think she looks like a fun figure. Again, it's always depends upon what else you pull in your boosters. But at 100 points, I think pretty heavily that I would play her in sealed. She does start with the charge and plasticity. Yeah. She quickly, I think odds are high you're going to get to some good values, especially if you manage to get, imagine if you get lucky and get a Spider Queen. Oh my God. There you go. There's your 300 points.
There's your team, yeah.
There's your team. There's your 300 points. That's a perfect team. The perplex works on her with the +2. Absolutely. So I could see that happening in a miracle world. There's some people that play in our venues that pull some gold. I'm thinking of you, Kyle.
Yeah. Or Jarrett with Double King Sharks.
Yeah, Jarrett. Oh, Jarrett, stop pulling all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Switch boosters right before we go next time. Yeah, but I like her. And honestly, I feel like at 100 points and with her keywords, there's a lot of ways to build around her and make her effective. So I don't think she's a bad figure at all. Low defensive values means that you can't really leave her out there. So you got to be really careful when you pull off that charge thing. I think you need to look around for a soft early target, right, to get that 1 click of vampirism, and then she can keep herself a little safer because she's easily outwittable, right? So there's nothing that's sort of protecting her from that. But I think she's an interesting figure with some potential, but another one I doubt I would see running loose on the meta scene.
I don't think we've seen literally any outwit from the set so far, have we?
No.
Maybe on Black Panther?
No, that's why I think in sealed, I would I can't imagine not playing her, really. I mean, for 100 points, there's so much to build around her, and we haven't really seen a lot of Outwit. But overall, knowing how much Outwit has come out recently, and I immediately think of Unseen, and yeah, she's just going to get taken apart. So
it is nice to see a vampire dial that has Indomitable and some kind of movement attack off the start that it can use to get those healing clicks back. But I do agree, Sealed definitely, Constructed. All right. Next up, oh geez, sorry. There's a mixture of resolution on all these. Spinneret. She's got Battleworld,
Regency,
Spider-Man family, armor, and celebrity keyword. Modified region tech is her first trait. At the beginning of your turn, you may choose a friendly character named Spider-Man and a standard power he can use. If you do, until your next turn, that character can't use that power, and Spinneret can use it. And then she's got a special movement power on her last 2 clicks, Enraged Symbiote, Flurry, Plasticity, and she breaks away automatically. She ignores Elevated and Hindering for movement. She's 65 points with the Spider-Man team ability and 4 range with some charge sidestep. What you see is what you get, kind of athletic Super Sensi dial. Mike, what do you think of Spinneret?
Fun little figure. Jay and I will both play her at some point in time because we both like Spider-Man family as a keyword. So we always play pretty much everything that falls in that keyword at some point in time or another. Meta, no, I can't see it. I mean, 65 points for what she brings. I can think of at least 10 things off the top of my head that bring more to a team for those 65 points than what she does.
Yep, check.
Yep, looks very, very fun though. Sealed, I don't think you necessarily play this figure with knowing what we do now. Doesn't really do much, so unless there's like a Spider-Man common that she could like take powers from and they can like alternate clearing or whatever, but not necessarily right now.
Yeah, if she'd have only had that perplex on the starting click, maybe, good support piece.
I'd be in agreement on that one. Jay, anything you wanted to add there? Or?
No, I also don't think there's much for her to wildcard so far on the set either. Like a bunch of Power Cosmic and Avengers so far.
Yeah, so Sealed is a hard maybe if I really need to. Like
this is a figure that you would have to force because you pulled it.
Yeah. You have no options here. All right.
In there.
Next up, Big Boss Hill. Asgardian, Battleworld, Other, Police, I believe that is, and Ruler, keywords. A Dictator That Cares is her special movement power on her first click, and only on her first click. Sidestep, Hypersonic, and Battle Fury, but only if a friendly character has been damaged by an opponent's attack since your last turn. Baroness of Battleworld is her special damage power on her first 3 clicks. Leadership, Perplex. When Big Boss Hill uses Perplex to target another character, you may instead modify a combat value, accept damage by +2 if the target shares a Battleworld keyword, or -2 if it's a different Battleworld keyword. She's PD team ability, 85 points. It's a pretty bruiser-like dial. Jay, what do you think of Big Boss Hill?
It's an interesting dial. I feel like you play it for Sealed because cheaper Plex, PD, support, whatever. Yep. Can shoot decently. The hypersonic comes at she's only 85 points. There's a lot of room to play around with. So probably a Sealed play. Constructed, I don't really see it at all.
Yeah. Nothing.
But also, again, very fun looking. I don't think there's a single figure that we've seen so far that I wouldn't personally play in casual. Like they're all amazing, just not necessarily all meta. So I'm just going to stop repeating that.
All right. Mike?
See, the interesting thing, as I think about it more, again, looking at that Baroness trait, is the value of that also comes down to the Battleworld keyword they have and how many other figures in the set actually have their specific Battleworld keyword trait. You know what I mean? The -2 is great, right? It's a nice deterrent, but that's kind of what you have to be thinking about is if she ends up with a Battleworld keyword that only like one other figure has in the set, well, then she's really only ever going to be looking at utilizing the -2. I don't know. I even if in Sealed, I look at her and I go,
Well, I mean, I guess that Battleworld Other to be like essentially miscellaneous is probably going to be more common.
I mean, we've seen it
But
already
is
on
it?
Big Boss Hill and She-Hulk.
Were theirs Battleworld other?
Yeah.
Okay. See, I couldn't. The resolution, like you said, I can't
Yeah,
see
it's
all of
pretty
them.
terrible.
So there you go. So that at 85 points, then she's more valuable because she can utilize that a little more, and she's less points, meaning you have more build room on your team. So yeah, I definitely could see you using her more in sealed. Though her special movement power feels way more situational in a way, like she's sitting back much more. Sort of waiting. I don't really. I hate anything that relies upon me getting hurt to pull off. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
I get that.
Yes and no, considering how common Pogs are now.
Sure, you're right.
Like she shares ruler with Groot, unless I can't read because the resolution.
No, that's ruler. That's ruler.
So yeah, I feel like there's good options there.
Yeah. The way I see this character though is that movement power feels not good. Because I could at this point value probably find somebody with hypersonic, and if she gets hypersonic, she can't use her 6 range because she has battle fury.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I like this character, but I only like it really for sealed and casual play.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was definitely not saying competitive.
No, okay.
Still.
Yeah. All right. Next up. Iron Fist. This is one of the chases, which means the chases have officially lost the plot. There's no theme to them. Like 2 of the characters are 10,000 BC. One of the characters is Black Panther with the Infinity Gauntlet, and another character is, we're going to see later, just not following any kind of unified theme.
But also the Doctor Strange with the really cool sculpt is on the box art next to Black Panther, so it might be another chase.
Well, it is, and we're going to talk about that in a. It
seems like it's a mix. It's like a mix of Marvel Legacy meets the sort of new Secret Avengers Illuminati thing that happened right before everything fell apart that created Battleworld. Maybe
I don't know. Anyway, this is Iron Fist. She's got Avengers, martial artist, and past keywords. Before martial arts is her first trait. Adjacent opposing characters can't use flurry, precision strike, combat reflexes, or close combat expert. Then her next trait, ancient incarnation Iron Fist. When another friendly character named Iron Fist hits after resolutions, remove an action token from this character. And then she's got a special movement power on her first 2 clicks, charge, flurry. If Iron Fist is adjacent to opposing character, she can't become the target of range attacks. She's indomitable with what you see is what you get. Dial 75 points. Who's got first on this one? Mike?
I think it was Jay, but
Jay.
It could be me. I don't know.
Jay, you got first on Iron Fist.
Really very good in all scenarios. I mean, just the stats for sealed are just really, really good. Shutting off all those powers is hard to say if it's as good in this particular set. But I mean, the charge flurry stats are really good. In Dom, it's all good. The no range part is good. And yeah, all that's good. I don't know if there's gonna be another Iron Fist in the set, and you're not hoping that you pull 2 of the same exact chase. But in Team Sealed, you never know. But for constructed, past is interesting because you can play her with like Joker's Wild Green Lantern and either use the barrier to never get shot, and then when you're basing characters, they can't get shot. As well as the fact that it's been pointed out that this character is not unique, so that they can trigger off of each other with the take a token off trait. Yep. So yeah, I think there's some potential here.
Mm-hmm. Mike?
Yeah, I like her. I don't know what it is. There's something about Iron Fist figures traditionally throughout HeroClix for me that I end up liking. There's something about the mechanic of them, and I usually find a way to play them with some fun other characters if I had good luck. I would definitely love to pair her up in a little bit of Rock Age, using some Golden Age figures, so I could use the which one is it? The Fast Forces Avengers. Well, actually, no, that's still legal. Avengers Defenders is still legal. Jeez, it's still legal. Fear itself too would also be fun to play with. There's a whole bunch of Iron Fists.
Oh, Fear itself was so good.
Right? I could have a lot of fun with this figure, both in modern and not. I think with those values, I think there's totally a potential there in the meta. And like you've already mentioned, if you somehow are one of those lucky people ends up with 2 chases, I mean, we've seen enough of it. We see enough of doubles and triples and figures happening on teams. 2 of them together at 150 taking tokens off of each other repeatedly is pretty crazy.
It reminds me of Howard Brock's Team World's winning team, where he had Sam Cap and 2 of the Peanut. He had the Valkyrie and the Black Knight or something. And Warren had the Wakanda theme, and he had like enough Wakanda warriors to actually pop out. Like, that was constructed level sealed pulls.
Yeah. I mean, because think of it this way too, like at 150 points for 2 of them, and it's charge flurry. So you've got 4 attacks in which to get at least 1 hit on each to then take the token off of either or. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, with 12 attack,
that's crazy.
You're going to get at least 1 hit.
12 attack base.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's plenty of perplex. There's plenty of things going on. Yeah, that's gross. I mean, you could take out a whole bunch of people with just 2 of them.
It's also 12 attack that can't be close combat or combat reflexed, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you're not allowed to do that. And when you're getting crackback, you can't be precision striked. You can't be close combat expert. You can't be flurried back with this character. Like, so much of what makes her so amazing is that she can't take it back. She can dish it out and doesn't have to take it.
and she breaks away automatically.
Yeah.
So you want to base her to mess with her, but then she just runs away. So you really got to take her out at range. You got to isolate her and take her out at range. That's your only hope.
And if you're unlucky enough to live through her beating you up, you can't take a range shot back at her. It's just so good. Oh, I love this character.
Yeah, she's great.
Jay, anything you want to add?
Nope.
All right, cool. All right, next up, Spiderling. Battleworld Regency Shield Spider Family keywords. Take down the giant robot. Whenever a friendly character within range is damaged by a character that's using Colossal Retaliation, after resolutions, the attacker is dealt 1 penetrating damage. Precognitive Spider Sense. Once per turn, you may re-roll the Spider Sense roll of a friendly character within range with the Spider-Man family keyword. And that's her special damage power on all 3 of her 3-click 30-point dial that has improved movement, ignore elevated and hindering, and the Spider-Man team ability. I keep losing track. When we have long sets of previews, it's Mike. Mike's first.
I kind of really like her. She's 30 points. I think that trait's great. The only thing that makes it not ridiculous is her 4 range, because she's then got to stay in close to people, and she's super fragile. I mean, super sense is nice, but a 17 defense with 3 clicks of life, she's getting killed. I, off the top of my head, cannot think of a way of increasing her range for her trait. If there is, I would do that and make her that much more valuable, because she's, a Colossal Retaliator killer. It's great. I love that idea. You hit me, die. Die, Groot. Die, Carnage. Die.
All right.
Die, Mangog. You don't even get your... Oh, well, he'll get a second attack, right?
Yeah.
Or actually, do you resolve that first attack? Is that an action resolution?
Well, chances are, if Spiderling's within the range of the character that Mangog's attacking, she's also within range of Mangog's attack.
Isn't his attack 3 from the target?
Within 3 of himself.
Within 3 of himself.
Okay, well, hers is 4 range of the target. So
yeah, but if Mangog puts himself between Spiderling and
if he does,
target,
well,
he should.
People make mistakes. He might need to be elsewhere to get other targets or more targets. He might be sacrificing himself to take out more people. You never know. But the real question is does he resolve that first attack? Does that actually resolve?
Yeah, the wording on the second attack is after resolutions as well. But since the Mangog player is order of active effects, assuming they play it properly, they obviously choose to make the second attack first.
I mean, and again, this is if they play it properly, they're hitting Spiderling in the first attack anyway.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Although I don't know, it's a weird wording, and other people that are good at rules seem to think that even if she dies during the attack, it still happens, because I guess it's a triggered effect that still resolves.
Great, even better.
Same as if you kill a Mystic, you still take Mystics.
Great. Okay. See, she just went up in value. I like it.
In this situation, I'm still getting the second attack. I'm dealing a possible 7 damage with Mangog. I've scored my 34 Mangog by killing the Spiderling and probably something else with the Mangog.
Mangog is brutal.
Spiderling. So. This is a trap character. This is a trap.
I like her.
Yeah, she's likable, but she's very beatable if you're using Colossal Retaliation correctly. Like, she's not as big a threat as it looks like, because the other thing too is if it's a team like, say, my monster theme team, I attack with 1 Colossal Retaliator. It doesn't matter. Now she's dealt damage, which means now she's able to be a target of another Colossal Retaliator, because she's now triggered a damage being dealt.
Sure.
Yeah, and she's an easy one shot with a Cerner.
Yeah, I know, but Colossal Retaliation only gets activated once per turn.
Yeah,
so
I know. But
come over and done the 1 Colossal Retaliation, which you've then taken the 1 damage on, and then when you come to get her next time around with that, then you also die from that. That's 2 Retaliators she's taken out for the price of 1 of her.
I'll agree to disagree on this one.
That's fine. I don't think she's a runaway, but I like her at the 30 points because I can fill her in on things. And again, Spider-Man family. I like Spider-Man.
She's just, it's like Grey Ghost. She's not the answer everybody wants.
Oh no, Grey Ghost is too hard. He's not giving you anything else, and he's more points than her.
Well, she doesn't really do anything outside of being a wild card and has the super senses reroll for the Spider-Man family characters you're not playing, except for herself, I suppose.
She's gonna call in Rusty.
I did call in Rusty recently. So.
I know you did.
Oh, was it against you?
No, it wasn't against me, but it
was against Kyle. Yeah, but it happens. I mean, she's definitely fun for casual because Spider-Man family and rerolling super senses is cool. And
I'm not saying she's runaway meta. I'm not saying she's good.
Her existing is just the part that matters. Like the fact that this mechanic exists, kind of like Leech existing or Copycat existing, the same sort of thing.
It causes a second to pay attention. Really, that's what it does. Like if I all of a sudden have to think, okay, well, Spiderling is there. Can I intelligently retaliate to deal with this? There are ways to intelligently retaliate with it, but there's not as many like we addressed the Mangog situation already, where it's like Mangog kind of covers himself by potentially killing the Spiderling and still dealing up to like 7 damage. But other Colossal Retaliators are going to have a harder time because they're not like the old days where they're doing like area of effect damage as much as they used to. So
also what's nice though is she herself then can be bait.
Yes.
It's 30 points, pull somebody over to put their Colossal Retaliator in a certain position, knowing that they want to take her out as well. You know.
Yeah. I mean, even if she was that good, I still think Groot sitting in the starting area, having leadership and making the 2 initial walking woods is good enough. Doesn't really matter as much for him. Mm-hmm. And even like other ones, like Carnage is like a random taxi. Like they all do something else, really. I don't think her existing invalidates Colossal Retaliators at all, really.
No.
And 100-point Carnage doesn't care about her.
No, of course not.
All right. Next up, Thanos. Haven't we seen enough of this guy yet?
Oh, Jesus.
All right. So this is super rare. Black Order, Eternals, Minions of Thanos, Cosmic, Mystical, Scientist, and Warrior keywords. The Mad Titan Ravaging Battleworld is his first trait. His only trait, rather. Colossal Stamina. Thanos modifies his attack and damage +1 if targeting only characters with Battleworld keywords. He's got a special movement power, which he has on the first 3 clicks of his 200-point dial only. Phasing Teleport. When Thanos uses it after resolutions, roll 2d6. If the result is greater than the amount moved, this turn he has free, make an attack. Just free, make an attack. Doesn't matter range, doesn't matter whatever. Other than that, it's what you see is what you get. Dial with Power Cosmic, 8 range, 200 points or 150 points. Jay, Thanos.
I don't know why they bothered giving him that second line. Like the amount that you get for that extra 50 points is so good. and then you're paying 150 points for a character that kind of feels like a shallow dial at that point. Also, you don't get the awesome power, which is very abusable. Like, if you're playing him in sealed, you move him 1 square, which is, and you can't roll to not get the attack, and then you just carry him. But as far as constructed goes, I don't necessarily see it as much because he's just so expensive. Like, you know what? If there was like a 400, maybe, because then you could like do a Sam Cap kind of thing where he also makes the attack on top of that. But like for normal 300 modern, I don't see that happening.
Okay, Mike.
Yeah, I pretty much agree on the modern 300 point thing. I don't. I mean, I agree with the 200 points. I mean, I want to play him at 200 points. Why wouldn't I spend the extra 50 points? Because those 3 clicks are great values, and that power is awesome and potentially really crippling. But I guess I look at the 150 point as just a different kind of figure. It's just the way it'll play. It just plays differently when you play him at that. He's just this not bad 150 point running shot psychic blast character that you can't outwit with good values. 8 range is pretty good. Boot speed makes him meh in that respect. Makes his running shot way less effective. So again, that's kind of why you swing back to why wouldn't I play him at 200 points? And especially because I'm probably only playing him in sealed. So yeah, I'll play him at 200 points unless it really, you know what I mean? If what I've pulled in my boosters, I can't build with him at 200 points for whatever reason, you know, I've only got like one other figure I can put on the team and then I'm way underbuilt. Maybe then I want to play him at 150 points just to get closer to 300. But I mean, come on, that special power with the 12 attack and 5 damage, prob 19.
Oh,
you're going to play him at 200 points. Why wouldn't you? It's just too much fun. It's a sealed event.
Yes, sir.
Well, especially when in the sealed event, right? If he's going after Battleworld people, he's actually got a 13 attack, 6 damage.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Literally, the only figures we've seen so far without a Battleworld keyword are the Avengers 1 million BC chases.
The chases, yeah.
And imagine
himself.
Imagine if you were one of those gross people who just was like, you know what? I feel like my dice are going to be hot today. I'm going to make them phase teleport, 9. And then you roll a 10 on your team. Because a 10, 11, 12, man. That's 3 rolls that you could make moving his full movement and still get to make that attack on some Battleworld people with your 13 attack, 6 damage.
Yeah. If you pull a low point flyer with this guy,
I want to play him on that underground map, that dungeon map.
Oh man!
Just be a jerk and just like jump into people's faces and one hit kill people, and then port somewhere else. That's all he does. He just port, punch, kill, port, punch, kill.
Yeah. I mean, long and short, like these guys said, this is a sealed strong Thanos, not super considered right now for constructed play. Even as part of a Unimind build, he's like the other Thanos is still slightly better because you still get that +1 if you happen to lose him, and he's not too bad on the, it's
the powers aren't good because Makari already gives prob. There's other better invincible options. Yeah. Although his end dial is really strong, but like way easy to kill.
Yeah, like it's low defense, high offense kind of situation on that one. All right,
I'm gonna play him in a game with Unseen though. Just porting around, being jerks would be great.
All right, next up, Destroyer Thor. This is the super rare prime. He's got Asgardian, Avengers, Armor, Deity, and Mystical keywords. His trait, the power to destroy hell itself. Destroyer Thor deals penetrating damage. Just take that in. He's got a special defense power on all but his last click. Invincible. When Destroyer Thor takes damage from an attack, roll a d6. On a 4 to 6, give him a soul token. Free, remove 2 soul tokens to heal Destroyer Thor 1 click. Breath of Life is his on his last click, the special damage power. Stop. Free, once per game, roll a d6 and add the number of soul tokens to the result. On a 6 or higher, replace this character with a character named Thor of a lower point value on its last non-KO click, then heal that character equal to the number of soul tokens. He is a giant. He has 7 range with 2 targets with a power cosmic team ability that can be played at either 220 or 170 points. Mike, Destroyer Thor.
Wow. I don't really know what to say because with that combination of powers defensively, I mean, the math potential there is pretty gross. It really is. Like this thing could nigh unkillable, as it were. I don't know what to say. This is a crazy figure. I'm even unsure about the extra 50 points for just 2 more clicks of life, because in one way it feels like, wow, that I'm paying for a lot just for 2 more clicks. But at the same time, the way his defense power works with the invincible, with getting hit and taking damage and getting soul tokens, 2 extra clicks is, 2 more soul tokens potentially, and that's 1 click of healing. That's extra clicks of life when you switch him into the Thor. I mean, that's what gets me even more here is you could let him sort of keep getting hit and collecting soul tokens, knowing you've got a stop click, and you could just switch into somebody else and heal them up, but always having another way of healing him. Like if you get some support on a team with him, that's crazy because you just keep letting him get hurt to collect soul tokens. You support to heal him back up normally so you can keep the soul tokens. And then you've always got that as your backup to free heal and or bring a Thor in and heal that Thor back up to full health. This is crazy. I don't know what else to say. Plus, penetrating damage. It just does penetrating damage.
Yeah,
you got Invincible, you're good. Invincible's still good.
Yeah.
But wow, what a beast.
But that poison at the end, that's penetrating.
Yeah.
That break in the middle, that's penetrating. You want to pay the extra 50 points? That energy explosion?
Yeah.
That's penetrating.
I know. It's running shot, multi-target energy explosion that I can prob that's penetrating.
Jay?
Wow. Actually, I'm not sure how I feel about him in Seal because, we're seeing a lot of high point things, and you're paying a lot of points for him, but only dealing 4 damage when there's also a lot of other invincible. If you pull only him and not another temple kind of figure for Sealed, you definitely play him. I don't think it's a case of he isn't good. I just kind of feel like he kind of reminds me of Captain Nefaria from Avengers Defenders War, where he's good, but he doesn't necessarily win in the particular Sealed environment. But also we know relatively little in this set. So if there's a really cheap enhancement or really cheap perplex to up the damage, that could mean a world of difference.
One thing that's worth pointing out is everything we've seen so far has been rare or higher for this set, except for the uncommon Prime. That's still a Prime, right? So we haven't seen anything on the low end. We don't know how the low end either helps or hinders this character possibly.
Also, we know there's a lot of Asgard stuff because of the Thor core. So,
but let's look at it this way too, though, right? With Invincible, that can't be outwitted, right? To get maximum damage on him of 3 damage, you have to do 5.
Yep.
Right. So that's a lot in this day and age, as it were. And then that means to hit his stop click, you've got to hit him 2 times for 5 damage each time. Because he's got Invincible all the way down the dial, right? So you got to do 5 damage, minusing the 2 to get the 3 damage on there. Well, you need to do 6 damage just to get to the stop click. So you got to do 2 big hits of 5 damage on this guy to even get him there. That's 2 soul tokens, because that's 2 times he's damaged.
Well, so it's a 50-50 chance each hit on getting a soul token.
It looks like a 5 to 6.
Is that 5 or 6?
33% chance.
33% chance each time.
So let's say in a good world, though, you end up with the 2 soul tokens. So there's a free heal to just get back off the stop click again. That's tough. That's already something tough to deal with. And again, like we said, 5 damage. That's a high output. He kind of likes the fact that he can run around as a giant, already running shots, seeing over everybody, energy exploding, and doing all this penetrating damage to kind of weaken people en masse. And then they're not as able to do these big 5 damages to him. I think he'd be a lot of fun in the sealed environment. I think he could wreck things in a good environment.
KJ Foster wants no friends in the chat. As he said, in Golden Age, give him Angrier's Hammer with auto regen.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. That's awesome, dude. Good choice.
I do like Destroyer Thor. I do like that he also doesn't have Battleworld, even though that wouldn't really make a big difference against Thanos. But it's not a disappointing pull in Seal. It does require it isn't as point and clicky as Thanos is, that's for sure.
No,
it's a good assessment, yeah.
But he's definitely good still. I think either at 170 or 220. But it remains to see what the common slot and the uncommon slot look like to possibly support this character.
And sorry, who was it who mentioned the hammer again?
KJ Foster.
Hey KJ, you know what split lip 30 points as Guardian?
20.
So 20. So that's only 240 points you've spent now to have the 2 of them, and you're auto equipping those hammers. So
and don't forget, while you're carrying split lip, he's got enhancement.
Yeah. So what are we doing? What are we doing with those other 60 points?
Well, we have to pay for the hammer
50 points
because you can't use the Book of the Skull. I mean, it's banned for Pat's events, but yeah.
Well, he's a Golden Age. He said,
"Oh yeah, Golden Age. You're not even competitive." Yeah, it's true because auto regen.
That's gonna be so much fun.
What's wrong?
He also said no friends anymore at the end of that. Like, no.
Yeah. Totally no friends.
I mean, it's hard to beat the idea of like 300-point Hulk with Anger's Hammer auto regen. So
yeah.
All right, we move on next to Namor. Atlantis, Avengers, Defenders, Illuminati, and Ruler keyword. He's got the aquatic symbol and his special movement power on his first 2 and last 2 clicks. One who travels a siege courageous is granted a new life. Phasing teleport, passenger 4. When Namor uses phasing teleport to move in a direct path of at least 4 squares after resolutions, heal Namor and 1 character he carried 1 click. Special defense power on his last 2 clicks, the Scion of Atlantis refuses to fall. Combat reflexes, regeneration, and toughness. On the special damage power on his first 4 clicks, a king does not bargain, he commands. Leadership. When Namor uses it, after resolutions, you may give 1 of his action tokens to an adjacent character with 0 or 1 action tokens, friendly or opposing. Aquatic, Indomitable, 100 points. We start with Jay on this one, right?
I think so. He's interesting. As sealed goes, he's only 100. He can carry your whole team. And if they happen to be damaged, he's got leadership, which is good. He can pace opposing characters and give them tokens and take them off himself.
I leadership a token onto you. Wait, what?
Well, the best part is with that you could. If you use him as a rock age call-in, you could roll a leadership, but then he poops, so it's like I gave you a token that I didn't care about in the first place. But raw numbers are good. It's all the numbers are good, just the no move and attack. Top dial is iffy for me, but the stats are so good. It's really hard to say if he's good in sealed at least, because if there's a character that can do stuff after being carried, for sure. Constructed, I just don't see a world in when you're paying 100 points for a dedicated taxi with no top dial move and attack. So,
Mike?
I don't know, man. I kind of really like him. I think that combination of the whole taxi thing, bringing people in, healing them, mixed with the leadership and giving tokens to opposing character, I think that's crazy exploitable. 100 points. Avengers keyword, that already makes my brain go crazy. Ruler keyword already. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I just bring 4 walking woods with me from my 2 Groots on my team. I've only
What's up, guys? How you doing?
I've only spent 140 points on my ruler team. I have 160 more points to exploit. Wonder what I'll do. Maybe I should get more Groots. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting crazy.
Maybe Surtur?
Maybe Surtur, who's 35. So, geez, I haven't
25, I think.
25.
I haven't even hit 200 points with my team yet.
Yeah.
What
Ruler,
the hell?
Ruler and Monster is very parallel. I want to point out.
Maybe I have 2 Namors. I don't know. I'm talking crazy, but anyway,
you are talking crazy.
I think he's great. Honestly, that alone, just a Namor carrying 4 Walking Woods with him, I think is crazy good. And I think there's a lot of brains already percolating about ways of exploiting the hell out of him. I think PJ likes him for some reason. I just have my PJ sense is tingling. I feel like he's looking at this guy and coming up with ways of exploiting him. So I like Namor. I think he's totally. I actually like him better in constructed potential meta than I do in terms of sealed. I don't know if I would play him in sealed as much because the rest of the set looks more interesting to me so far than him.
I mean, I'd play him if I got him in sealed. That's for sure. I see what you're saying with constructed, though, because there's so many things you want to carry these days. Sam Cap comes to mind. Shredders come to mind. And if they happen to take a little bit of damage, cool. Let's get out of here, guys.
Yeah, exactly. Does Sam Cap have Avengers?
Field soldier.
Okay.
Yeah.
If she had Avengers,
forget it.
Yeah, guaranteed. I'm playing this guy.
I think there's do one of the Chase Shredders have Ruler?
Clone has it? Not. Yeah.
Dude, him and Clone Shredder. Come on.
You had a bad day.
Wait. Him and Clone Shredder, that's 175, plus a Groot is 195. Again, I'm putting a second Groot on there. So I'm already at 250.
Plus Resurrection.
Are you going to play for the Ocean Resurrection?
Sure. So 220.
Yeah.
So I still have 80 more points for ID cards and the Surtur. So Surtur goes on there at 25, so that's 245. So I still have 55 more points for just ID cards if I wanted to.
Hey, you actually managed to get Shredder clone. Why don't I just heal him up? Why don't I call in a Wolverine and then heal him up twice?
Yeah.
Shredder clone's indomitable, isn't he?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? You're going to be sidestepping anyway. Take my token for me.
Dude, right? This is why this figure, I think, is crazy. As soon as I saw this.
There's a lot of potential in this name where, like, once you really unpack this character, he's really freaking good.
Plus, he regenerates himself, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Last 2 clicks.
He's healing. He's moving and healing. And he's already starting with a high 18 defense and invincible anyway. So now you've got a taxi that you actually have to concentrate on hurting and killing. Yep. If you do a big chunk of, so let's say you outwit his defense. You hit him for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 damage. You still put him on that power. He just phase teleports away because he's indomitable next turn and heals a click back up. Gross.
I love this guy.
I do. I love him too. I love him.
I'm in love with him Namor. All right. Let's wrap this up. Last preview. Agamotto. Once again, a chase. Once again, representing the 10,000 BC Avengers. And he's got Avengers, Mystical, and Past keyword. Ignores hindering for elevated or for line of fire. For elevated trance, matter with me. And then he's got this trait. The all-seeing, when Agamotto uses perplex or probability control, he may target opposing characters regardless of range or line of fire, unless that character is the lowest point character on its force. Then he's got before mystical arts. Protected Mystic's team ability. Opposing characters within 3 squares can't use perplex for probability control. And then a third trait, in Ancient Incarnation, Doctor Strange. When a friendly character named Doctor Strange hits after resolutions, remove an action token from this character. What you see is what you get. Dial with 7 range, 2 targets. Power Cosmic team ability. He's either 170 or 90 points. Mike, thoughts on Agamotto?
90 points definitely has potential to be on some meta teams. It's still a little pricey, but the fact that he can use his perplex on an opposing character anywhere on the map, regardless of range or light or fire, plus the probability control, makes him a fantastic support piece. He's not so worried about defending himself with a 12 attack psychic blast, though the 18 defense invulnerability is can't be outwitted, but there's plenty of ways to get through invulnerability. But I think there's a lot of potential there as a support piece at 90 points. 170 point figure is interesting and fun, beefy. I definitely would play him in sealed. I don't think I don't know, especially because he's boot speed. I think he's not really a viable sort of tentpole piece on a meta team at 170. But I like him. He's cool. He's interesting. I'm enjoying some of these chases, man. There's a lot of power there.
Yeah. Jay?
I think you definitely play him at sealed at full points because he's gonna.
Oh yeah.
3 points at 19.
He's gonna prob and perplex everybody.
Yeah, in a sealed game. Yes, of course. Yes.
9. I don't know about 90 points for sealed because no move and attack. He's kind of squishy. Would have expected Mystics on him, but I guess not. I don't know about constructed for either. Really, like he doesn't do anything at full points that you can't get elsewhere, and 90 points. I don't know what he's really doing to justify being played at 90 points. Like the perplex prob shutdown is cool, I guess, but not worth investing heavily into. I don't know. I think just sealed for me.
If there's a solid way to protect him from the X-Men team right now, he would be their nightmare.
No.
Because they run in small packs and perplex each other. So, if you can safely find a way to get this guy with like right next to an X-Men team and make sure he doesn't get attacked, which I'm asking the world of this one. Like, I don't think you can actually manage to pull that off.
It's like either a way of giving him mastermind or a crazy shape change or something, so that you could get him in people's faces and stuff. But I don't know, man. There's potential there. I mean, any time that you could make a person re-roll anywhere on the map.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
That's why I feel like those 90 points. Like I don't even care about the perplexing my opponents anywhere, though that could really help you out. You could be in a situation where the guy just needs to hit your guy and he's going to do enough damage to kill your retaliator. Why perplex down your damage one and all of a sudden you can't take him out? That could be huge for you. That's a huge defensive thing. But I just again look at to have a guy on my team that's probbing you anywhere on the map is so helpful nowadays. I've had so many re-rolls lately. Oish.
Yeah.
Oish.
So overall, like after this dump of previews, I'm more excited for the set now. The chases are super exciting. Don't get me wrong. I'm really liking Iron. Like I like the idea of multiple Iron Fists. There's no such thing as too much Iron Fist, especially since Iron Fist Season 2 is a massive improvement on Season 1 TV wise. So I'm really back on the Iron Fist train. Like I enjoyed Season 1, recognizing that was a bad series. But Iron Fist Season 2 just came out this past weekend, and I'm like 5 episodes in, and I'm loving it. It's like massive improvement. So,
hey, Jay, 2 Iron Fists with Avengers keyword and Namor with Avengers keyword. That's only $250.
I know. I know.
It's 3 chases. 3 chases.
Oh man, yes, I'm investing in 2 Iron Fists very early. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. All right, something else came out this week. This is both the most exciting, most ridiculous, most stupid, but at the same time most fun announcement Wizkids has ever made. They have made a partnership with the WWE. I've been hyped for this so much since they made this announcement. It's such a cool thing. Now, in here, they do lay out the fact that, yes, HeroClix and Dice Masters and other games are part of the agreement. So we do know, unlike with the Games Workshop license, that HeroClix are going to be included in this. And I'm seeing a lot of excitement. And a part of it is that a lot of players, in some cases, are going to be caught off guard with how much crossover there actually is between pro wrestling fans and HeroClix players. Like, there's actually a lot. And then beyond that, I think pro wrestling at some point has touched somebody's life in some way, shape, or form. I almost said that wrong yesterday, so I have to fix the way I phrased that. I got a lot of time to gush about it yesterday, that's for sure. But I want to hear my co-hosts' opinions on the matter. And let's start with Jay this time.
I mean, it's not for me in particular, but there's a handful that I want. because of various reasons.
Don't be shy. What characters would you be interested?
I'm gonna say I want the mega powers because Macho Man is in Spider-Man. So then gotta go Hulk Hogan with him. And if that's a keyword, but they don't add it to 300 points, that would be a bit iffy. Dave Bautista because Drax. Who have they mentioned so far?
There was a
list
mention of like, hey, these guys.
Yeah.
Included. Give me a second. John Cena, The Rock, Charlotte Flair, Roman Reigns, The Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Trish Stratus were all named in the initial announcement. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what's going to be in the first set.
The Rock is the only one of those that I know that I want because it's The Rock, and also I guess you can play with Black Adam in the future. So
the pro wrestler who turned into a genre of film. Look, when Dwayne Johnson is in your movie, it's not like an action movie; it's a The Rock movie. Michael, what's your take on all this?
Well, I haven't watched wrestling in years now, but I was a huge wrestling fan in the early days, like definitely through the 80s. I remember Hulk Hogan vividly slamming Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3, I believe it was.
Yep.
Which was here in Toronto at Skydome.
That was in Madison Square.
That was in Madison Square? I thought WrestleMania 3 was here.
Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan was in Toronto.
Okay, but I thought that was WrestleMania 3.
No.
Oh, man. See, it's been a long time, the 80s. There's been a lot of things in between.
In fact, I think like WrestleMania 6, I believe it was, where Ultimate Warrior fought Hulk Hogan for the main event. I was at that event live. A lot of fun. That was the first event, like the first major event in the Skydome.
Yes, it was the first major event in the Skydome. So for me, I would be excited to see some classic ones. I mean, everybody knows I don't really go outside of the main sets, but this set actually kind of makes me want to grab some guys. And I was already pulling off wrestling moves off the top turnbuckle of that boxing ring with my Moon Knight on a Yakeem at Canadian Nationals last year. So I'm excited to do that. I mean, it's already there. I think we already know they're going to put out another boxing ring painted differently now to be a wrestling. Like it's a guarantee. I actually
think that money. I think that will be part of a bigger thing that will actually have a cage that goes over it, and it'll be like Hell in the Cell.
It'll be at least some kind of starter set that comes with that and some figures. I mean, maybe it'll be like a 2-figure set, so it'll be some 2 famous figures. Maybe it'd be Hogan and Andre the Giant and a ring that you get in this set. Who knows? But the classic wrestlers would be the ones I'd be excited for. I want to see the Hart Foundation, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, and Bret Hart. I want to see Brutus the Barber Beefcake, Roddy Piper. I want to see Hogan. I want to see all those guys. Definitely I want to see Ultimate Warrior. I love Ultimate Warrior. He was probably actually one of my favorite wrestlers. And Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Definitely one of my all-time favorite wrestlers. Jimmy the Dragon Steamboat. Oh my God, I could go on and on and on.
I can't believe I forgot the Iron Sheik. I am a terrible person.
Nikolai Volkov.
It was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. That's the word for that. Just when it comes to Ultimate Warrior and Jimmy Snuka, don't look up your heroes anymore.
I know. Yeah, don't. There's a lot of heartbreaking stuff in those guys. and I learned a lot about that. I actually worked on the Bret Hart film, as these guys know, the Wrestling with Shadows film. So I got to meet some of these guys. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting stories there. But I think
Wrestling with Shadows would have been a hell of a thing.
It was a hell of a thing. It was a hell of a thing. Lunch with Hogan and Bret Hart and those guys was an experience to remember. I'll tell you that. And Hogan does tell you to take your vitamins a lot. A lot. Really
take
does.
Your vitamins.
Say your prayers.
Say your prayers.
But I so in that respect, it touches on the kid in me, and I'm excited to see some of the figures. Definitely, if we have the classic figures, and I hope that they have some fun with some mechanics. I think we need to see some form of fastball special power, where when you're next to the edge of the map or a rope, you know, you can grab a character and throw them and stuff like that. So good for them. And we should get some pretty cool. We better get a cool 3D object set with a chair, a folding chair, a ladder, an announcer table. Those 3 minimum things need to be in a 3D object set.
I'm picturing, as part of your announcement table thing, in fact, the character of Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler with an announce table in front of them. That's what I like. I want that kind of figure.
Dude, there has to be a Mean Gene Okerlund figure. Like, are you kidding me? There's got to be one, man. We got to have all that stuff. We have to have Bobby the Brain Heenan, Paul Bear. We got to have all that stuff. There's going to be managers. Like, come on.
Managers, I guarantee, will be the first competitive thing.
I was saying
they'll have crazy support powers. They'll have a power they'll have almost like a call-in power where they let you like switch guys and stuff. Think about tag team as a potential for switching. That's their own version of shifting focus.
Yeah, I actually think tag team will work like we see the duo figures now. You know how you have the duo figures that switch on dial?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to see for tag teams.
I wanted to do it like shifting focus. I think it would be way more fun.
More within the next couple days for me, because I'm writing an article for Majestics on what my predictions will be. My wish list in the meantime is everything. Just everything. I want an undead mortician. I want his brother. I want them both. I want him to shoot lightning and I want his brother to shoot fire. I want the Undertaker and Kane, for those who are not familiar with what I'm talking about. Heck, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat started blowing fire as part of his entrance at one point. So there we go. Give him range. Like Tajiri's Green Mist. I want the Hardy Boys jumping off of ladders, the Dudley Boys smashing you into tables. I want the Concerto from Edge and Christian. I want to dump my wrestling knowledge. Like, I might have to start a wrestling episode once these things are out, just to like barf all my ideas out.
Legion of Doom.
Like, yeah, the Legion of Doom with it. Just have the, oh my God, the finishing move where you put one guy on the shoulder, the Doomsday Device. Oh
yeah.
Does 8 damage. Deal with it.
Degeneration X.
Oh man. Stone Cold Steve Austin would have like a the Stone Cold Stunners. He'd KO that guy and then he'd be allowed to make another attack. And if he can KO that guy, he can make another attack. And
he does Stunning Blow. Come on. He does Stunning Blow. He deals damage in the in-cap. Like, that's the Stone Cold Stunner right there.
So you want a close combat version of Hawkeye, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
He has charge, flurry, in-cap, Stunning Blow.
Like, all you have to do is watch Stone Cold Steve Austin with a ring full of wrestlers doing stunners on all of them, and you'll understand where I'm coming from with that. Like, he kicks a guy, Stone Cold Stunner. Kicks a guy, Stone Cold Stunner. Like, to represent that is like, if he KOs a guy, he can make another attack.
So here, this is what it is. He can do a close attack that does Stunning Blow, so deals damage and in-cap, and then he rolls a D6. If he rolls 4 to 6, he then can move, let's say 3 squares, and then make another close attack on an opposing character, also doing in-cap and damage. And then he rolls again.
And the Spanish announce table as an object that must be destroyed before any other object attack can be made.
I want the high flyers too. Rey Mysterio Jr.
Yeah.
It's almost... Mysterio. I have to be honest, I'm a little sad that it's not like all wrestling, because
there's so like
I think of the NWO, buddy.
Hey, no, NWO is owned by WWE because they own the WCW.
Oh, they did buy WCW.
And NWO did show up in WWE for a period of time, so that can happen.
Oh, that's exciting. I'm even more excited now.
Yeah, like the limits are endless, and there's a wrestler right now named Braun Strowman who flips ambulances and flips Big Mac trucks. I'm sorry. Pro wrestling doesn't make any sense. It's allowed to be in comic books.
So stats-wise, we're looking at non-human levels. This is just fictional at this point.
Yeah, okay. And this is a common misconception, is that everybody's expecting them to be human level. But if you watch wrestling, nothing is human about it.
No. They'll have ridiculous numbers in places and stuff.
Absolutely. And I think they should. I think they should be able to compete because in the pro wrestling reality, you can do the physics math. And when a Stone Cold Stunner sends The Rock as far flying as he does, there's a reverse impact from that on a level of force that you don't quite understand.
It's also worth noting that like they did the Muhammad Ali figure, and it wasn't ridiculous. Like it was perfectly reasonable, I think.
Yeah, it was a good figure that could reasonably be expected to kill a figure if presented the option to hit it.
For some strange reason, I don't have a problem with seeing a pro wrestler fight Superman. I don't know why. It somehow works for me. So it's okay. Go for it.
Both have something in common. It's all made up and a ton of fun.
That's kind of why it works for me. You know, it's we already know it's fake.
Yeah. And everybody who does like complain about it or just kind of see it negatively, they kind of have to see it for that way. Like pro wrestling is a TV show, man. It's just a fantasy TV show. And I think the best description I heard of it is like anime for rednecks.
It's men's soap operas.
Exactly. And
that's all it is.
It's silly stories and ridiculous things happening. And you know what? That's all comic books are anyway. Odd side note, this has actually inspired me to start reading Boom Studios WWE run of comic books. Like I'm starting this week. They have a new storyline coming out, and I'm just like, why not? Let's see what the comic books look like, so that I can turn around and say, no, if you turn to page 5 of issue 1 of this NXT comic, Finn Balor lifted a truck. You are wrong.
Oh, I've wasted my life.
You know what? I've been wasting my life before. This is going to be nothing new. All right. So with that said, it's going to be time to move into questions. Guys, if you're watching us live in the chat, capital letters question in front of it, and then ask your questions so that I can see it in the chat. There's a lot of people talking in there, and I do love it. I love seeing people watching live and chit-chatting. And before we do that, I do want to take a second to thank our sponsors over at Patreon, at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. $1 and up gets you access to the Patreon Discord, along with access to our Patreon Hangout, which we actually had yesterday. And our next one in October should be October 7th. That will be the first Sunday of October. So if you want to be a patron, and check us out at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. $1 gets you that. $5 gets you early access to our recorded content, which Amber has been editing like a fireball. Should give me a thumbs up. Did we just put one up? Tomorrow we'll have a new episode up of recorded content as well. $10 and up gets you access to our action tokens, which we're putting our order in for for July and August for you patrons who are at that level. So every 2 months we send those out, so it saves everybody a whole lot of time and money. All right. So on that note, we're going to start on the Facebook. If you're in the chat, like I said, big capital letters question, so we can see your request. And the first question is making this episode an official one. It's been a while. Mr. Chris Stockhouse is back in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Whoops. And I'm just going to throw my camera around for you guys and give you guys motion sickness. So he says, Trouble alerts don't work for all teams. I regret using one on Saturday in Lexington. It cost me a game. The other game I lost because Lockjaw rolled a 6. I had 8 ID cards on my force and used Cyclops 3 times in 5 rounds. And I had 2 of his ID cards on my force. No one else was called in. Am I wasting too many points on ID cards? All my games were super tight, except my last round against Lockjaw, Star Fox, and 6 Mudmen. Ugh.
Oh, my God.
Super excited to edit my March of the Ents team before I take it up over the border here in a couple of weeks. Okay, so to address the Super Friends thing, they are okay on every team, but you have to pay attention to the board before you call them in. It's not a matter of the team. It's a matter of the board state. You do have to be aware of board state and realize what's going to happen if I bring this Trouble Alert character in. It's not that it's bad for the team. It's that it was bad for the time. It's something I learned on my first run of them. In fact, my very first game with one, I almost cost myself the game because I had dropped a Superman to just die and then lost a Colossal Retaliator after a miss. It was a bad start, but I did find my way back into that game. After that, I had to start reading the board state. And you do have to read board state before calling in with the Trouble Alert. But as far as your ID card addressing, that's kind of a rock hard case sort of situation. I haven't been playing with the current environment of ID cards personally. But if you're noticing that you're using a certain number of them a lot, but you have a bunch, you're not necessarily wasting the points. You just are in the situation more frequently where you can use the Cyclops one in this case. That's the way I'm kind of reading the situation right now. I'm going to let Jay answer next. What do you think is the kind of the situation in this?
Oh, it's a long question. Trouble alerts are, they're very dependent on the individual team and game state. How did Adam Friedman did an article on Majestic's Insiders, and he said basically don't use them if they negatively affect your build, like at constructing it in any way. Like don't force them in.
No,
like, they're not the first thing you put in. It's more like, oh, I happen to have sideline left. I will throw them on.
Yeah, like my monster team has 0 sidelines. It's like, all right, I'll put 9 on. Right?
Yeah. I think the most I've had on any competitive team since they came out was 1, and even then I've taken it out. Like my team right now has 8 ID cards, and one of those has 2 options because it's Professor X. So I'm not taking out an ID card for one. I'm not, doing any of that stuff. So I'm not forcing it in. Like they have good effects, but and yeah. What was the rest of the question?
ID cards. He's got 8 ID cards on his team, and he's used Cyclops 3 times in 5 rounds of his 8 ID cards. He's wondering if he's wasting points on the other ones.
I don't know what your team looks like, so it's hard to say.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you're like my team has 8, but that's also because it's a don't die tech team, and I want them to attack to poof and not trigger retaliation. Because included in that is the double Cyclops, double Wolverine. So they don't trigger retaliation in my case, but your team could be entirely different. It's hard to say, but like I don't see a situation where you just don't want a Cyclops on your team. I feel like it's not the Cyclops that's the issue as much as maybe the other ID cards.
Well, and that is the issue he's addressing. Is like, is he wasting his time?
Yeah, it's hard to say without knowing the ID cards themselves or the team and whatnot. But I realistically feel like, like there are a lot of good options, but I think it has to fit your team. Like, don't throw it in just because it's good, but it's a team by team basis thing.
Yeah, Mike.
Personally, I think if you're not a theme team right now, then I think you actually have to look at ditching some of those IDs. Obviously, you have to look at what teams you played against, how many tournaments you've played with this team in. Have there been a variable of teams you're playing against, or have you been facing off against a lot of the same team? Because if you're facing off against a lot of the same team or same team type, well, then of course you're only going to be calling in certain IDs, right? You've got a lot of IDs to cover your bases, to cover a lot of different teams, which is why you would, in most cases, want to keep that number. But if that's not the case, if you feel like you've actually played against a large variety of teams and you played this team in a lot of settings and you keep only using a couple of ID cards, then I think definitely you should look at losing some, because there's a lot of stuff out there at 10, 20, 25 points that you can fill in a team, especially if you're not a theme team. A Groot at 20 points, Surtur at 25 points, a Carnage at 10 points, a Mudman at 20 points. I just think there's a lot of other things you could do. Terrain options, boxing ring, map bonuses now, and the Batman starter set is another thing too. So I think there's a lot of other ways to spend points. So there is that option of losing a couple of IDs and throwing something else on your team that gives it an extra edge. But I have to go back to, it all depends upon what you've played against. Because if you've only been playing against certain things, well, then of course you're going to call it the same stuff. So, right? It's a broader thing than just the one environment you played in. I mean, one tournament, I could totally see you only using a couple of IDs. It happens to me in plenty of tournaments where there's a sort of a swing of types of teams I'm playing against, and I call that stuff in. We, in fact, talk about it a lot with the upcoming Canada Cup. There's a lot of teams we see locally that you don't see locally south of the border, and vice versa. I've been looking at a lot of the winning teams and top 8 teams from ROC events, and I'm like, I have never seen any of those kind of builds up here at our events. So we're less likely to play against it. So I may never call out certain IDs that I have on hand that could address those teams. You know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. It's kind of not an easy answer, right? Without seeing everything that's happened for him.
Yeah, I'm taking a bet here. And if I remember correctly, Chris Stockhouse is a Magic the Gathering player. So I'm going to indulge myself just a little on this case and kind of address it from that point of view. And when you play in the world of Magic the Gathering, you have something called a sideboard, which is they play 2 out of 3 games. And in between games, I can take some of these cards on my sideboard, take cards in my deck, and kind of shift them around, right? And that's kind of how I'm seeing ID cards right now. ID cards are a version of the sideboard where you have a bunch of options in order to react to certain degrees of teams. And because you have all of these options, you'll find yourself in a situation where not all options are useful all the time. And in fact, you might never bring in something because you've never had to deal with something that answers. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't have it. You know what I'm saying? So like Mike was saying, lots of things happen, but when you come into a small tournament, sometimes you play against, like, let's say it's a tournament of 50 people and you play 5 rounds of Swiss. So in 5 rounds of Swiss, you play against 10% of the field. And that's not a massive amount of people, right? And then beyond that, you go into the top 8. Now, if you played against any of these guys in the top 8, then guess what? Right? So you kind of have to see that your answer in some cases isn't always going to be available. And when you have 8 ID cards, some of them might never see play, but you knew that if something was ready or something was going to be a problem for your team, you had that tool ready. That's kind of how that ends up going.
It's like that uncommon Iceman as an option for the Iceman call-in.
Yeah.
I had him on the team, and I bring him along, and 99% of the games I've played, I've never made him my call-in option. But he was there in case I faced Mistress Death again. You never know. It could happen. And Lockjaw comes up. You know what I mean? Like, it's that point. You put it much more eloquently than I had been attempting to say. It's like, yeah, it's all about the variables that you've been faced with. You want to cover all your bases, but if you haven't faced enough things to tempt all those bases, well, you don't know. You don't know. There's a lot of stuff out there now, man.
And PJ broke it down. I think he actually nailed it down to like 23 viable teams in the meta right now. So 8 IDs, I think that's good. 23 possible teams in the current competitive environment that are viable and possibly like at minimum like 50-50 with half of those teams is what that kind of breaks down to. All right.
Plus, if you're playing in the Canada Cup, you have to account for Canadian weirdness. So,
dude, you gotta, okay. So here's how you account for Canadian weirdness. Grab a beer, okay? Consume that beer. Start thinking about a team. Now, drink another beer, and when you're done that beer, start building a team again. Now, have another beer, and continue to build your team. Now, if you can still see, you're not quite building like a Canadian.
No, it's when the judge, Jay, looks at your team and goes, "So you're not actually going to play that team, though, are you?" That's when you know you're going to play that team. And that's when you know you're Canadian.
Yeah, that's how you know you're Canadian.
Or Al Jordan.
Or Al Jordan. Put Al Jordan on your team. That's another Canadian.
Oh, yeah.
We are all guilty of it.
Wait, Al Jordan has ruler.
Oh, no.
Oh.
All right, Michael Fedor, the alpha patron, the first patron, and still going patron. Love all the new pieces for the new generation of Spider-Man family keyword, but I'm missing Spider-Gwen from the last Enemies set, Superior Foes set. Should I obtain her, or should I wait for a chance she appears in this new set? I mean, that Spider-Gwen is pretty neato. I've used her in the past, and she turned out to be pretty cool. So give her a go.
I mean, she's so cheap. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think she's a massive investment. I think it's like a $7 investment or something like that. I don't know, Mike. What do you think?
She's a great figure. She's fun. I played that figure a lot in a lot of my Spider-Man family teams. She plays effectively. There's actually a couple of things I think you could put on her in Golden Age that make her even more effective, and she's retired now anyway, right? So, right?
No,
She's Spirit. Man, I keep forgetting the dates.
Mike,
I might be
Spirit
getting
Foes is the oldest set legal.
That's the one. That's
Civil
the
War
one.
doesn't count.
Civil War is the oldest set legal, but
No, Civil War doesn't count.
No,
No, it doesn't. Yeah, you should get her. She's cheap. You should totally get her. She's a lot of fun. She's a great figure. And to be honest, I don't know if we'll get one of her in the Battleworld set because there's a lot of stuff coming in the set, and she's not quite a sort of a deviant, like figure from what she was in that set. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, she already is to begin with.
Yeah, like
Okay.
Really, the Spider-Gwen that we've got that's the Spider-Gwen that is in Battleworld, because there's actually a Battleworld storyline about the Spider-Verse, but it's still just all of them, like Spider-Ham and her. And so, if anything, we may get the Indian Spider-Man or the British Spider-Man.
Spider-Man UK or whatever.
Yeah,
I'm just
the Braddock Spider-Man.
Gonna go ahead and apologize. She's not $7. She's like $23 on Troll.
Oh,
yeah.
Is she sold out on Troll and Toad though?
No, there's 4 left.
Oh, I mean, I don't know what that would compare to what you would have to pay on Facebook.
She's a good figure, man. I had fun.
I wouldn't say I play Spider-Verse often enough. I wouldn't say she's the first figure I put on there.
No,
but she definitely. I've played her. I played her within the past 2 months. I actually managed to pull off her revive. She's good.
We're down
to effective.
We're down to $20 on Cool Stuff Inc. or $17.99 for the sketch variant. That's right. The sketch variant, which was supposed to be rarer than other figures, is cheaper.
That actually is not the worst figure to get as a sketch variant. Although she looks like a question though, because she already has like the white face.
She's horrible. I pulled her as a sketch variant, and I was happy to eventually get a non-sketch variant. Yeah, and her face was horribly bad and undefined.
I have to commend the team on the Spider-Gwen and the way the coloring turned out on her. She does look pretty good.
The normal figure, it's it's great. She's also so tiny, like she's almost like one of the hockey pucks because she's already crouched over and she's already such a small thing. Like she's not big to pack, unlike some other Spider-Man, which are gonna break.
Yeah, what's unfortunate for her is that she lost out a bit in the rule changes because of her one trait where it says that she can evade attacks made by characters using precision strike.
I would basically
errata that.
They mentioned they were going to errata the equivalent to Spider-Man, but the intent is obvious that precision strike doesn't affect her. So I would, But the other problem is that she has traded super senses, which you can just outwit now. But all that being said, I think she's a great little figure.
She has a great little figure.
Solid stats.
And the web effect space is not a.
Yeah, who doesn't like that?
I mean, I think it's underrated and often forgotten.
Yeah. I mean, another fact that we have the spider buggy. The spider buggy is incredible. Like the shutting off the stealth, and the fact that you can pilot it with some like a cosmic Spider-Man.
She's a good one to be the one to call in with the Spider-Verse, because you just have her standing by holding an object, and then someone hits and you bring her in for the big hit with the object, and now she's standing next to you with an 18 defense, combat reflexes, and traded super senses. She's a fun figure that way.
Yeah. Oddly enough, she didn't make the errata.
I mean, but it's so obvious, and you're never playing her competitively. I don't think it'll be an issue.
Let's not give them the incorrect information, though.
I did play her on a competitive team, but it was with the Pandora's Box. It was one of my Pandora's Box Spider-Man family team.
Mike did go on to say, would you rather use the new Thanos or the 2x2 Thanos on the Unimind? I'm still going with 2x2 Thanos in that one.
2x2.
I wouldn't say new Thanos even if 2x2 didn't exist.
Yeah. No, 2x2.
Yeah. All right. We move into the chat. So if you guys have questions, I only see one right now, guys. So Majestic's HeroClix. Hey, Pat. Will WWE be like Street Fighter, where it's basically self-contained set, not really useful in regular clicks? I want to say no. I really wish list. No, it should just meld into HeroClix because of the reasons I said earlier in the episode. But I don't want to give them it's hard not to give them that much credit. And Ninja Turtles had some figures, so will it be 100% competitive? Yeah, maybe not. but will a certain number of figures stand out and go, hey, hold on a second? I think so. Mike, what do you think?
I'm so flip a coin on that one, to be honest. A part of me in general, as we know, because I don't buy outside of the sets, prefers to keep those sets separate, and I was happy that Street Fighter was like that. But again, there's something the kid in me is like, oh man, I kind of want to see some of these wrestlers get it on. Well, wait a minute, get in the ring with some
now.
Of
if
these
you've watched pro
superheroes.
wrestling, it's not far off.
Yeah, I want to see some interactions here. I don't know. I want to see what's his name, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, go toe to toe with Batman. I don't know, or Wolverine. Oh yeah, Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus Wolverine. It'd be good times. So I hope that, for fun, Wizkids finds a way to make them merge in. I lean towards thinking that they will make it a self-contained universe.
I also, and Mike, I'm going to send you something right now. Hope they get beyond the WWE. Jay, your thoughts on it?
I mean, just based on the quality of dials we're seeing recently, they're going to be playable for fun. But it depends how they go, because like, once you throw in managers and other kind of bystander characters, you could get some competitive tech kind of potential. Or they make a John Cena who has awesome stealth variant. He can be a call-in battery. It's really hard to say. I'm gonna watch this after.
Mike, welcome to pro wrestling.
What kind of attack would you call that?
That is, for those of you unfamiliar or wondering what the hell we're giggling about, Joey Ryan, pro wrestler. Pro wrestling fans know what I'm talking about. If you're not a pro wrestling fan, look up Joey Ryan. You'll have a lot of fun with it. And
is that some kind of plasticity and opposing characters can't auto break away?
With any failed attempts at breakaway, will add an extra action token and 1 damage.
Giant reach of 4?
9.5.
Ooh.
All right. Next up, Happy Little HeroClix. Does Wizkids take card for payment at Nationals Worlds, you think? I haven't found any info so far. Not sure what the setup for PAX is. All right, here's where things get a little wacky. I'm not sure, because I don't know if PAX is anything like Origins where they run their own little currency thing. Anybody who's been to PAX Unplugged and has the information, please email us, marriedwithclicks@gmail.com, so we kind of get that information. Amber knows some people who were at PAX Unplugged last year who might be able to help as well. But when it comes to a convention, I suggest planning on bringing cash. That's my best suggestion.
Well, it depends what you're paying for, because like at Origins, it was like if you wanted to buy exclusives, they had a machine or whatever. But
well, I'm staying corrected then. Thanks, Jay, for jumping in.
Yeah, for the actual, if you want to play the actual events, you needed Origins tokens. But if you wanted to buy stuff, like your Blackbird, whatever, they had a machine. Obviously, cash is good for that, but yeah, you had to use tokens for the other parts of it. So, but as far as PAX goes, no clue.
Yeah, PAX Unplugged is going to be a little different because, like we said, Origins uses that little token system where you go to another stall, you buy a bunch of tokens. Those tokens are like $2 each, and they actually represent $2. And then you hand those to the things. What it does for the convention itself is it allows the vendors to not have to carry money boxes all over the place. The tournament runners not to carry money boxes all over the place, because you tend to get distracted and things can get grabbed, and you can't hand those back in and expect money if you don't have a vendor pass. It's generally how that works behind the scenes. All right. Next up, Nolan Lake. I once played a ridiculous game against my friend where the theme was building with the worst figures possible and swap teams. What figures would you use for the worst team ever? How many of what's that guy from Trinity War? You know the one I'm talking about, right?
DEO agent?
No, worse than that. Signal Man.
Oh God.
Signal Man.
Team full of Signal Man. Deal with it.
I think that build is weird because I think you have to throw some rules in there to make it not broken. Like you can't. I think you want to throw in a no zero. You can't bring only 0 damage characters in, because otherwise my team that I give you a million Donald Blakes literally can't win. So, but
Yeah, you could
my
just
team would be a bunch of old rookie Destinies, Leanne Harper's, and Big Barda. Not
I
Big
want to point out
what's her name? The leader of the Apocalypse, Granny Goodness.
Granny Goodness.
Oh, the old one? Yeah.
The old Granny Goodness, a bunch of rookie Destinies, and Leanne Harper pods.
I want to point out a team full of the Destiny like the rookie Destinies could kill them with critical misses.
Potentially.
If you have enough of them.
Just some random stuff from Modern. Attending is a good one.
Yeah, Attending.
Attending is a bad. Attending's not Modern.
Yeah, he is. He's from Deadpool and the X-Force.
Oh, Attending. I'm getting it mixed up with the guy from Superman, Wonder Woman. Accountable.
Oh god, I mean he's outwit, but yeah, Attending is 1 damage, no range, whatever.
The drummer. Play the drummer.
Oh god. No, the drummer could up his own damage though.
Exactly. The drummer's amazing.
Moon Knight from the Avengers set and pick Perplex.
Court of Owl's initiates are not good either.
Every turn you pick Perplex.
Oh.
You just kill him. He kills himself. I'm going to perplex in my movement. Damn it.
I got a couple buckets you can build these teams with. Like, please take them off my hands.
Lots of Thanagarians.
Thanagarians, there it is. A team of Thanagarians.
Oh, but I like the Thanagarians.
Get out of my show. You're fired.
I gotta find my headphones again. Damn it. Hey,
actually, Wade Edwards wins. You play a team of only mercenaries.
Oh.
I mean, that's technically allowed, except for
lose.
Yeah. I mean, that's technically a correct answer, but you know.
I mean, don't count on having friends after that. No, even better, you give them like mercenary, and who's somebody that can like deal damage to themselves and slowly kill themselves.
I mean, anybody, because they can push.
You just turn it was like your turn. No. I mean, like a character that actually physically deals damage to themselves somehow.
I can't think of anything that could kill itself and just damage it. The telephone booth is a thing that you could use for that.
Mm-hmm. All right. What figures would you use for an only under 50-point team?
Under 50 points?
Is it 50 and under or under 50 points? Only
under 50 points.
I mean, JSA is my obvious answer.
Yeah, that's Jay. Jay's covered.
JSA team. No thought. I mean, I could literally my go-to. Like, if I build a JSA team, like I automatically throw in everything from Harley Quinn, Gotham Girls. They're all under 50. Everything from Joker's Wild except for Johnny Jakeem, all under 50. As far as Modern goes, there's literally 3 of them that are over 50. So that's pretty easy.
Mm-hmm. And if I was to go golden, wasn't there an old Havoc that was like super strong but really low points? Mutant Mayhem, here it is.
Yeah, like a 45.
The veteran was 44 points.
Yeah, 44.
With 10 attack, 4 damage, energy explosion, 8 range with the X-Men team ability.
Yeah, he was a great figure. I used him a lot.
I used a ton of that character. I remember that. So there you go. Yeah, that's 44. That's deep in you have to go deep into Golden Age well on that one.
X-Tunes are pretty decent, and especially if you can throw in some Moiras and whatever other cheap headmasters, if there are any other ones that qualify.
Why am I trying to think?
That's it. I could do Lila. I could do some Moiras. I could do a Banshee, the lower point Banshee, maybe a Brew.
Why do I feel like I'm thinking? I might be wrong about this one, but is there not a character under 50 points right now that does like 4 damage naturally, or am I just drunk?
What? Are you crazy?
I mean,
let me find out.
I am. I have a show called Into the Mind of Madness. It's not because I'm sane.
4 damage under 50 clicks?
I'm searching right now.
Advanced search. There we go. He's got the.
Oh, wow. I got 43 results.
Uh-huh.
Because think of it this way.
Okay, Ymir. Okay, to be fair, Ymir.
Yeah, Mangog.
But he can't attack smaller characters. Mangog, but he can't attack smaller characters. The Iron Man, who has it on his last click.
Yeah. Proteus. But again, that's when he's attached to somebody. So that
Power
doesn't
Woman
count.
at 25 if she turns into the higher dial or whatever.
That's I'm currently looking at modern right now. So
modern, there's like next to nothing.
Yeah. All right. So I was drunk on that one.
I mean, you could play Ymir, and it's a way to change his size.
And Mangog. Mangog's your guy who's 35 points and doing 4 damage. Potentially 7. What a jerk.
Mangog.
What a guy.
I've been Mangogged.
Icon's Blackfire. If you go really back, she got like 9 attack
damage on his last. Origins damage on his last.
The Ultron drones.
Oh, we go back to that same Mutant Mayhem set, and we have Polaris. She's 50, but never mind. She's not under 50. Never mind.
No. But that Havoc came up.
Yeah.
Casey Green Lantern if he turns into the higher dial. And the Casey Superman.
You know what's cool, too? That Havoc is actually way more valuable now because he's got leadership.
Yep. He's better now, yeah.
Yeah, I would actually like to play him in a nice little golden. Lila can carry him around.
Jubilee, if she can prime, can heal all the way up to 5 damage.
Here's the figure that it was. It was the 40-point what if Iron Man uncommon on his last.
Yeah, on his last.
that was where I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
That was one Tom played in Bizarro recently.
Yeah, I mean, you could pull it off with the Mercenary, 15 points, and you can give it range. It's got range combat for 2 damage, so it could happen.
It ain't gonna.
It did and sealed for me a couple times.
What, getting that Iron Man to his last click?
No, I was talking about the Mercenary. I was talking about the Mercenary now. 2 damage with range combat expert. Sorry. All right. I think we got it. We're good for questions today. So I want to thank Mike. Mike the Crusher White. Jay the Slam Master Solomon. And our sponsors over at the amazing Majestics, ccg.com. Check out their premium site, majesticcg.com/apex-insiders. Your one-stop source, one stop for all things HeroClix. Okay, all things HeroClix. Great minds submit to their strategy portion, which is what you get at $3 a month. Do keep an eye on the site, majesticcg.com. For free articles on a regular basis too. I'm planning on putting one up very soon that include my predictions for the WWE set, the first WWE set. I want to point out it's predictions. I'm probably wrong on like 90% of them, so I'm okay with that. Whatever, I'm having fun with it. Also, like I said, check out the premium site for strategy articles. PJ just put up probably one of the most valuable strategy articles right now, and it is the full breakdown of all the competitively viable teams that you should be ready to play against or be thinking about playing when it comes to like ROC World Cup around the corner, ROC Canada Cup, which is even closer to around the corner. Like that's 2 weeks away, I think, or something like that. So yeah, because that's on September 23rd and it's September 10th now. So it's 13 days away. I'm going to be there. Mike's going to be there. Jay's going to be judging. So all the details on that are down below. In the meantime, guys, as always, when you're getting ready for your tournaments and you got something awesome around the corner, do remember to get practice, because practice makes your team better. Have a good night, everybody. Woo!